think you belong in a fancy hotel like that? Being a dropout and all? Alice, always nasty to me for some reason. Her snide remarks are alive and well today. I hold back my feelings, as usual, and take it quietly. When I bow my head in silence, my husband quickly retorts. The room goes ice cold in an instant. My name is Mia Ingram. Summer break is just around the corner as spring passes by. The shouts from the schoolyard and the classroom's chatter. The story the teacher reads feels like a lullaby. Big white clouds float in the blue sky. Is it good luck to spot a contrail? I was almost drifting off to sleep, thinking about it. I like English literature class. It's interesting to hear different stories. Miss Ingram, could you please answer question 3? It's my turn. Question 3. What was the answer again? I dig deep into my memory, but can't find it, feeling useless. Sorry, what was the answer to this one? I ask softly. The teacher looks disappointed, and my friends tease me with a smile. I've done it again. I like English literature class, but I never said I was good at it. And I'm not good at sports, especially sprinting. No matter how hard I try, I can't run fast. I've practiced sprinting the 50 yards in front of my house with my dad, but it didn't help much. My dad is fun and kind. We're not wealthy, but my loving mom and dad always put me first. Our meals aren't fancy, but we enjoy family bonding over dinner, sharing our day. Wanting to help out my family financially, I decided to drop out of school and get a job. As the leaves started to change color, I became a working adult. My first paycheck will go towards a nice dinner with mom and dad. That was my first goal as a working adult, a promise I made under the changing leaves. From day one, I'm constantly learning new things, and before I know it, the day is over. My coworkers are fun, and my seniors are kind. Especially Martin, who is 4 years older, takes good care of me and is someone I look up to. Finally, on payday, I take mom and dad to a nice steakhouse that Martin recommended. It's our first time in such an upscale place, and we're nervous, but the delicious food and cozy atmosphere soon put us at ease. Mia, thank you! My dad even starts to cry out loud. Mom just laughs at the scene. It's embarrassing, but also incredibly happy. Let's come back. We leave the restaurant with those words. From then on, we often come here for mom and dad's birthdays and anniversaries. Meanwhile, at work, there's still a lot to learn. I'm far from being as competent as Martin. Summer passes, autumn comes, and then the cold winter. Flowers bloom, the sun blazes, and the leaves fall again. And once more, a season of hellos and goodbyes. Martin is retiring, it seems. My admiration for him scattered like fallen leaves, never to be conveyed. As those memories started to fade, I found myself in a cafe during a work break one early summer. The aroma of fresh coffee and trendy background music enveloped me. Scanning the quiet cafe, I spotted a man. That bag, that posture. It's been years, maybe 3, but I could never forget that figure I admired. Martin? Before I knew it, I had spoken out loud. He turned, surprised, and walked over, equally astonished. Martin also frequents this cafe during his breaks. We caught up briefly and exchanged contact information. That encounter in the cafe led to more conversations and outings. After several dates, we started a relationship. Being with someone I once admired was beyond my wildest dreams, but it was real. Martin is busy with work, so we don't meet often, but those rare moments are special. Days fly by in a whirl. The ginkgo trees are beautifully tinged with yellow. Walking under the trees, feeling the seasons, hasn't changed since I started working. I'm beat. I collapse on the sofa as soon as I get home. It's been nearly 10 years and my body still hasn't adjusted. Lately, there's been more to learn at work, so it can't be helped. Mom doesn't scold me. Instead, she says, "You're up early every day. Good job," and sets the dinner table. Tonight's dinner is fried chicken. Lured by the smell of my favorite dish, I quickly change and help set the table. That's right, I can't afford to slack off. I have important news for Mom and Dad. Just as I finish setting the knives and forks, Dad comes home. "Oh, fried chicken today?" He quickly changes and rushes to the table, his first words upon arriving home filled with joy. It's been a while since all 3 of us had dinner together due to Dad's business trips and my night shifts. Let's eat. With that cue, we all say grace and start eating. Mom's fried chicken is the best. As I savor the fried chicken, I snap back to reality. Mom, Dad, I have something important to tell you. They look at each other and then at me. It's rare for me to be so formal, so they seem concerned. Seeing their faces, I can't help but smile and show them my left ring finger. Look, I'm getting married. Don't look so worried. I smile. Their faces relax instantly, and Dad starts firing questions. Who is he? Where is he from? What's he like? How long have you been dating? Did Mom know? Why was Dad the last to know? Ah, my Mia! He exclaims loudly, just as I expected. I had told Mom about him before, so she looked genuinely happy. Next to her, Dad was making such a fuss that Mom and I had to calm him down. Okay, sorry for keeping it a secret. I won't forgive him easily, Dad says. But even as he says that, he looked relieved. Soon after, preparations for moving began. Alright, that's everything. I seal the last cardboard box with tape and stack it in the corner. I managed to pack everything into just 10 boxes, fewer than I expected. Along the way, I found old albums from middle school and diaries I'd written. I took a trip down memory lane, laughing and reminiscing. Getting sidetracked is part of any big cleanup. Mom found a stuffed animal she bought me years ago. She looked at it nostalgically and said, "Take this with you," as she packed it into a box. As we packed and shared old stories, the room emptied out in no time. Mom was a bit worried about me moving into my husband's family home right after leaving ours. After all, I'd never practiced housework or cooking. Don't worry, Martin is kind. It's a bit lonely when he's not home, but I'll manage, I assured her cheerfully. Little did I know what lay ahead of me. Don't put that there, said Alice, Martin's sister. Alice had been cold and harsh with me ever since I arrived, but only with me. I thought it must be because I wasn't good at managing things, so I doubled down on housework and my job. On my days off, I'd go to Mom's to learn some tasty recipes. Mom always welcomed me with my favorite chicken. Going to learn cooking was just an excuse. I was really going for the comfort of home and Mom's cooking. How's your new home? Are you managing okay? I'm worried, Mom said, looking genuinely concerned. I lied without thinking. Everyone's kind, and they even compliment my cooking. In reality, my mother-in-law and father-in-law were good to me. I'd even learned some of my mother-in-law's signature dishes. I tried various approaches to housework, always thinking of how to be more efficient. But Alice kept finding faults and attacking me with cold words. Every day was like a cat-and-mouse game. However, my daily efforts weren't in vain. I'd become quite good at housework, earning compliments from my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and Martin. When I served the clam chowder I'd learned from my mother-in-law, it was a big hit with Martin and my father-in-law. It disappears quickly. But Alice's attitude never changed. In fact, it felt like she was escalating, becoming even more confrontational. One day, as I was getting ready to go out, she suddenly burst into my room. "Could you at least knock?" I snapped. But Alice didn't care. She just dumped some work on me. I was pretty irritated, but finished the task anyway. As I was fixing my appearance at the entrance, she came all the way there to say, "Where are you going in such cheap clothes?" I was really upset and wanted to snap back, but I held it in, faked a smile, and left the house. I didn't want to make a scene and deal with the aftermath. Even though I was doing my best, comments like that made me feel like giving up. When she started criticizing things unrelated to housework or my job, it really started to affect me mentally. I was reaching my limit. I wanted to talk to Martin about it, but he was coming home tired every day from work. I didn't want to add to his worries. I wanted him to focus on the job. So I just waited silently for time to pass. Just when I was getting used to Alice's cold demeanor, Martin proposed that we get married. I was so happy. I felt tears streaming down my face before I even realized it. Caused by my own emotional reaction, Martin looked at me and said, "Sorry to keep you waiting," and gave me a warm hug. Once the decision was made, everything moved quickly. We planned to go dress shopping and pick out venues for the ceremony and reception over the weekend. I was excited, but that was short-lived. For some reason, Alice came along and started shooting down every idea I had. I had always dreamed of the perfect wedding dress, and just thinking about it lifted my spirit. I chose a soft, white princess-line dress that I had always admired. Martin smiled and said it was very me, so I decided on the spot. It was really lucky that Alice had stepped away to the restroom at that moment. Martin suggested the venue for the reception, and we chose the ceremony location to match. Of course, I agreed, but Alice couldn't keep quiet. That fancy hotel might suit Martin, but isn't it a bit much for you, Mia? Her tone was nasty. After all, you're just a dropout who's been living in poverty, right? You're out of your league. She continued as if he were making a fool of himself. I was about to bow my head and endure it when Martin spoke up. Hey, Alice, that's uncalled for. Besides, this is Mia's hotel. Her background and education don't matter. The room went silent. Alice seemed taken aback, unable to process the situation. I hesitantly spoke up. I'm actually the manager of this hotel. I then explained how I had worked hard since dropping out and was eventually promoted to manager. I was embarrassed to talk about it, but Martin stood by my side with a serious look, giving me the courage to speak. When I looked at Alice, she had a regretful expression and started to run away. Martin chased after her and grabbed her arm. Alice, wait! What's with that attitude? He quietly confronted her. Had she always been like this? Why was she acting this way? Alice's eyes reddened, and she glared at us. Why? Because... She paused, as if holding back tears. It seemed like if he continued any longer, tears would come out along with the words. Swallowing down the words and tears, I casually wiped away the tears that were floating in my eyes, and continued vigorously. I can do anything! Study, work, sports? But why? Why is there no one around me? Her voice gradually weakened and faded. Feeling uncomfortable, I offered her a handkerchief. Alice snatched it and wiped her tears and nose. After calming down a bit, Alice spoke quietly. I'm really sorry for being so awful, she mumbled, still looking away. She then confessed that she had been jealous of me and had been mean to me because of it. Hearing that, I felt like I had gained a real sister. I thought it was sweet and honest of her to take the handkerchief I offered and wipe away her tears and nose. I felt a bit relieved to see this new side of Alice. But if I said that, she'd probably never speak to me again. Thinking that the distance between us might have closed a bit, I tried to strike up various conversations on the way home. Don't get ahead of yourself! She told me not to get ahead of myself, but her voice had a hint of laughter in it, different from before. That evening, dinner's ready! As I set the table, Alice was the first to come in. She silently helped me with the table settings. When I thanked her, she simply said, "It's no big deal." But even that was a significant step forward. The rain had finally stopped, and the sun was shining brightly. Our wedding day was clear and sunny. As I was getting ready in my dress, Mom and Dad looked at me with a mix of excitement and a touch of sadness. Mia, you look beautiful. Mom gently touched my cheek, while Dad was crying out my name next to her. Dad, you're so loud, I said, trying to calm him down with Mom. We cherished these family moments. Soon it was time for the ceremony, and Mom and Dad left to make other preparations. Alone in the dressing room, I was lost in memories when there was a knock at the door. Come in! I turned around to see Alice standing there. I wondered if something was missing or wrong, my mind racing. But Alice chuckled. You look beautiful. She said just that and left the room. I sat back down, relieved and smiling at the thought that the distance between Alice and me was slowly but surely closing. Mia, you're stunning. I was surprised to find Martin sitting in front of me, and we both burst into laughter. So much has happened. It felt long, but also like a blink of an eye. I believe this is just the beginning. I don't know what lies ahead, but I feel like everything will be okay. Shall we go? Martin extended his hand, and it felt like I could go anywhere with him. The spring sunlight filled the room. The faint background music from the TV and the rhythmic sound of chopping vegetables flowed through the air. The clock showed it was past noon. Just need to prepare the salad and we're perfect. Crash! I was startled by a loud noise while preparing lunch. Rushing to the living room, I found Martin had deliberately fallen over, surrounded by scattered blocks. Ah! Dad loses! Martin happily admitted defeat, and our daughter looked thrilled with her victory. I wish this happy scene could last forever. What are you guys doing? Lunch is almost ready. At my words, they both started cleaning up. The doorbell rang, and when I opened the door, Alice was there. Here you go, she said, handing over our daughter's favorite snacks before hurriedly entering. It's Alice! Our daughter happily jumped into her arms, and Alice lifted her up. Adoring her, we had become like real sisters, thanks to our daughter. We'd go shopping together, and Alice would buy toys for our daughter. I think it's all because of our daughter. They say children are angels, and I feel that every day. We're expecting our second child in June. It seems the bright days are far from over.